Queen Charlotte. A Bridgerton Story is a historical romance drama and a prequel to Bridgerton, created by Shonda Rhimes and released on Netflix in 2023. The story follows two timelines: the past, the early marriage of Queen Charlotte and King George III; the present, the older queen during the events of Bridgerton. The show explores love, power, race, mental illness, and the creation of the aristocratic society known as the Ton. The story begins with young Charlotte, a German princess from Mecklenburg-Strelitz, traveling to England for an arranged royal marriage. She has never met her future husband, King George III. When Charlotte arrives in England, she becomes nervous and overwhelmed by the idea of marrying a stranger and losing her independence. Just before the wedding, Charlotte attempts to climb over a garden wall to escape the palace. A man stops her and asks what she is doing. She does not realize the man is King George himself. George is amused by her boldness and confidence. The two share a flirtatious and honest conversation. Charlotte says she wants to run away from the wedding. George convinces her to stay. Their chemistry is immediate. Soon after, Charlotte marries George in a grand ceremony. She officially becomes Queen of Great Britain. However, after the wedding, something strange happens. George leaves immediately after the ceremony. He avoids spending time with Charlotte. Charlotte becomes confused and suspicious. In the present-day timeline, the older Queen Charlotte is frustrated because none of her children have produced legitimate heirs. The royal family risks losing the succession. She pressures them to marry and have children. Charlotte expects a romantic honeymoon, but instead discovers her husband rarely visits her. George appears only occasionally and often disappears for long periods. Charlotte notices unusual things. George avoids staying the night with her. He is often distracted or distant. He spends time secretly working on astronomy experiments. Charlotte begins to question whether George actually loves her. Meanwhile, we meet young Lady Danbury, Agatha Danbury. Her life is very different from Charlotte's. She is trapped in a marriage with a much older husband. Her husband treats her like property. She has little freedom or happiness. Her storyline shows the difficult position many women faced in this society. George's mother, Princess Augusta, introduces a political plan called the Great Experiment. This policy elevates several wealthy families of color to aristocratic status. The goal is to stabilize society after Charlotte, a queen of mixed race, takes the throne. This change reshapes British high society. Charlotte finally confronts George about his strange behavior. He explains that they will spend time together only to make an heir on even days. Charlotte is confused but accepts the arrangement at first. Soon the truth begins to emerge. George suffers from severe episodes of mental illness. Symptoms include confusion, anxiety, sudden emotional changes, paranoia. The king's doctor subjects him to harsh and painful treatments: isolation, physical restraint, experimental medical procedures. The treatments are extremely cruel. Despite the difficulties, Charlotte begins to truly care for George. She realizes his distance is not rejection, it is fear. George fears that if Charlotte sees his illness, she will leave him. Charlotte finally witnesses one of George's breakdowns. She discovers the doctor has been secretly treating George. The treatments are meant to hide the king's illness from the public. Charlotte is furious. She confronts the doctor and demands that he stop harming her husband. Charlotte proves she is not just a young British, is a powerful queen. She insists that George be treated with dignity and care. Lady Danbury's husband eventually dies. Instead of mourning deeply, she experiences something new: freedom. Now a widow, she gains control over her life and her wealth. She becomes a respected figure in society. Charlotte and George grow closer emotionally. Their marriage becomes genuine rather than political. Charlotte becomes pregnant with their first child. Lady Danbury forms a complicated relationship with Lord Ledger, the father of Violet Bridgerton. Their connection brings her comfort but also emotional conflict. She eventually chooses independence rather than romance. In the finale, Charlotte fully accepts George's illness and decides to face it with him. She stops the doctor's brutal treatments completely. Over time, George's mental health continues to decline. To protect the monarchy, George lives separately from court. Charlotte rules publicly. Even though they live apart, their love remains strong. In the present timeline, the older Charlotte visits George during one of his episodes. She finds him hiding under a bed. George is confused and frightened. Charlotte sits beside him and comforts him. They talk about the stars, their children, their life together. It is one of the most emotional moments in the Bridgerton universe. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more.